Hello, I am C-3PO, and I believe the storyteller is ready. So, let us begin.
Okay, so we pick up in the final 20 of Empire Strikes Back. Hydraulic door shoots up. Luke is walking through what was, I guess, the preservation chamber where they sealed Han previously, and out pops a red lightsaber and Lord Vader and Luke's first official lightsaber duel.
Exactly. He holds his own better than we would have expected in this scenario. There's a lot of taunting from Vader. They begin to fight. Luke actually gets the high ground on Vader by falling down into that same shaft where Han was frozen in, jumping out very quickly, and then spraying some gas at Vader.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we've got Lando and Leia and 3PO and Chewie being marched along as prisoners, but Lando, in a rare moment of heroism in this movie, has actually rigged it so that their keeper rescues them, and they fight off some stormtroopers, and then they're running to stop Boba Fett and, of course, Han Solo from escaping on Slave One, and they don't make it.
Exactly. Luke continues to fight Vader. Vader really starts to turn up the heat starts using the Force to his advantage, throws a bunch of objects at Luke. Luke just gets winded and gets his ass handed to him. Vader pushes him out of a window using the Force as well by breaking the window open, and then chops off his hand, and we have a very important moment.
Of course, he reveals that he is Luke Skywalker's father. What?
Oh my God, it was truly mind-blowing. And Luke chose that as opposed to joining his father, a most likely death and falling hundreds and hundreds of feet is the better option. And he's right, because he doesn't die. He's totally fine.
Yeah,
and he ends up hanging from a weather vane at the bottom of Cloud City.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Lando makes some kind of Cloud City-wide broadcast warning all of the citizens to get out of town because the Empire is here, and that kind of instills a certain amount of chaos in the community.
Yeah, they hop on the Falcon from there, and they're going to try and jump into Lightspeed so that they can get out of the area, but they realize their hyperdrive has been disabled somehow, and then R2 and 3PO get in a fight, but R2 ultimately, like he always does, saves the day and fixes it.
That's right, and they rendezvous with the rebels, and they have every intention of going to Tatooine, where they have a checkpoint so that they can stop Jabba the Hutt from doing whatever he might be about to do with Han Solo, and the movie ends.
There's also some awesome Force conversations, though, in there.
Okay, let's start with that.
There's just a second. There's a few conversations where Leia also has a conversation with Luke.
Right.
She's able to see that Luke needs help. They go rescue Luke, and then Luke starts to have that conversation now with Vader. And Vader's continuing his, come join me. And Luke is like, what the hell, Ben? Why didn't you tell me?
Two big Last Jedi things happening with those things. For one, the fact that Leia never gets enough credit as a intensely strong Force user.
Yeah, she's had zero training, and she's able to tap in. Now, some people could say that it's Luke using the Force through Leia, but I think that's just horseshit.
No, I don't think Luke, who has virtually no training at all, can just send a Force message to any old person.
No, but I think, and obviously I believe it purely being Leia is extremely strong with the Force, because why wouldn't she be? But there's always the argument that you could say where because Luke is strong with the Force and because they're related, that he's able to leverage that kind of the twin communication on top of the Force. But no, it's the fact that their twin communication is heightened by the fact that they're both insanely Force sensitive.
Now that saves Luke's life, and that's wonderful. Amazingly, and I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, I have no memory whatsoever of this conversation that Luke has with Vader.
The only reason you have no memory of it is because it's not the same kind of conversation. Luke is talking to Ben, and Vader is talking to Luke. Now, but Luke can hear him, and it's done in a very similar way to what it's done, the way it's done in The Last Jedi.
Right.
But I think that's the reason why we don't associate it, because it's not so cut and dry a conversation where it's like they're in the same room.
Last Jedi makes it look like it's face to face.
Exactly, and I think that's great, and I loved what Rian Johnson did with it. That was one of my favorite things of the movie, that whole concept. But once again, people just assuming it's Rian Johnson making shit up and doing it his way. It existed before.
Yeah.
Force projection existed before.
Absolutely.
Leia having the Force existed before.
Totally. Absolutely. I did find it a little bit corny when Vader just quietly says,
Luke,
Father. And then immediately Luke, in some kind of dismembered coma, shoots awake and he goes, Father. Like, you don't call him Father. You hate him.
Luke has terrible lines, always.
Yeah, but Lawrence Kasdan wrote this script.
Yes, but after seeing Solo, we know that he's not flawless.
I know.
As much as he has given us the best movie of all time.
Yeah, give him a break. He did write Empire Strikes Back.
I know. I'm kidding, obviously.
Yeah. And maybe we can blame some of the shortcomings of the Kasdans on Jonathan.
I love him.
Do you?
Oh my God, he has had some hilarious tweets lately.
Oh, good.
You can just tell that he is so in love with Star Wars that he is just reveling this opportunity, and I think that's great.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice to see.
Now, speaking of the measurement of Vader's performance in that duel, is it fair to say that Rogue One kind of rewrote the 3 duels of the original trilogy? In that it's not exactly clear. It's kind of clear that Vader is taunting Obi-Wan.
Oh, okay. So
and he's certainly taunting Luke at the start of this duel because you're right. He definitely turns up the heat.
Mm-hmm.
But it is certainly not clear in those original 3 movies exactly what he's physically capable of.
That's true. However, Luke does get a clear shot on Vader. So Luke does hit Vader once. He gets him right before Vader lops off his arm, lops off his hand, and he plays on the fact that Anakin's biggest weakness was his rage.
Yep.
And in this instance, Vader just gets mad and he decides that, you know what, he wants to end the fight so that he can just put Luke in his place, basically put his kid in the corner.
Right.
But he decides, you know what, I'm going to end this, and he gets really angry, and it leaves an opening for him. He becomes exposed. But right before that does happen, when Luke is like a good step back, he doesn't really know where Vader is, and Vader has all the control. That's as terrifying as like Rogue One, not to the same like slaughtering degree, but his ability to just make the room cave in on Luke.
Yeah.
Everything on the walls was just coming at him left and right. He blows him out a window. I mean, he just creates this typhoon. He's this ominous presence that like Luke at a few points doesn't know where he is. Yeah. It's like Vader really turns on the terror in that fight.
They have some very cool special effects, and they can really illustrate for the first time what the dark side of the Force is capable of.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's true.
But
which is supposed to be what we're seeing because that's what Yoda was warning.
Absolutely. It would be a very interesting exercise to watch this duel back to back with the one in Return of the Jedi, because theoretically Luke shouldn't be too much better of a duelist by the next time he duels with somebody. A lot of time has passed, and he's had a lot of time to meditate with the Force and grow as a Jedi. So emotionally, he should be tempered very differently in Return of the Jedi.
We get a very different Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, right across the board. And that's good character growth.
Oh, yeah.
It really is good writing.
It's the best Luke Skywalker.
But I would be interested to watch his physicality in the next duel versus his emotional performance in the next duel.
Well, I find them actually they're so heavily related in Return of the Jedi. It's because he fights with the dark side in that fight. He's Anakin that entire fight in Return of the Jedi.
That's interesting.
He's just like he's Anakin, but not one of the best swordsmiths in the entire swordsmen in the entire galaxy.
Right.
Anakin was an incredible duelist. Luke is shit. But in terms of coming at it with just pure rage, like Luke has a better fight in Empire than he does in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, but I don't think that is good storytelling, because ultimately Luke should be very flawed in this fight because he disobeyed his master who knew best. And in the next movie, he wins. Actually, he doesn't.
He doesn't win.
No, he doesn't.
He gets his ass handed to him.
Yeah, he does. You're right. Yeah, that's right.
Now,
and ultimately good prevails, although it comes from Vader.
Yeah, and now he does spare Vader.
Yes.
He does spare Vader when he's going to town on him. But that's the thing, he's using the dark side.
Yep.
He goes into that fight just not even knowing what's on his side. So he grows a lot during the entire fight of Return of the Jedi. And it just goes to show you, because my entire life, Luke always prevailed as the light side hero through the entire movies, of course. But the first time this was going about, there was the strong possibility of him going to the dark side. That's what Mark Hamill wanted. George Lucas played with it. The fact that he wears black the entire movie, but at the very end, right when he's revealed to show his true colors, the white appears in his clothing. There's a lot of consistencies to show that Luke uses the dark side throughout Return of the Jedi. And so it'd be interesting to kind of see the way that he ends this movie not using any really, really hardcore light side. He has all his morals. He tells Yoda he's not going to compromise any of them. But by the time we get to the next movie, he is a different person. He force chokes a guy randomly just because.
Well, and if you disabuse yourself of everything we know about lightsaber culture now, and all that existed in the Old Republic, when the millions of lightsabers that existed and the different tones of lightsaber color that represented different Jedi characteristics, if you completely detach everything you know about that and just think about how people felt when they first saw a green lightsaber, that's hugely symbolic of the fact that Luke is choosing not to go good or bad. Because in all the other duels we've seen, granted there's only been 2, red is very ominous and it's associated with black and it looks devilish, and blue is angelic and it's pure, and green is just something altogether different. And so it brings in this new ingredient, which really is a through line in all of Luke's character arc through the end of Last Jedi.
Well,
It's something new altogether.
It's interesting because it's completely accidental. The reasons why green was chosen for 2 reasons. I hear 2 different reasons. One reason is that the blue didn't show up against the blue sky on Tatooine. On the sand barge,
sure, yeah.
And it wouldn't, because if you see that sky, it is so blue.
The story I heard is that he thought people would think it's confusing. They would say, where did that lightsaber come from?
Yeah, and that's the other one. However, that one I think is less likely, purely on the basis of in the initial cut, there is a deleted scene of him building the lightsaber, so you do get to see that it is a different lightsaber.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And I know we're getting into Return of the Jedi stuff now, finishing on Empire.
This is good.
But it is one of my favorite Easter eggs, and I don't think it's been canonized. I think it's just a theory, but I absolutely love it. And it's that Luke's lightsaber crystal is Qui-Gon's.
Well, where would he get it?
Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's had Qui-Gon's lightsaber. He cuts Darth Maul in half with it.
And otherwise, where is he going to get a green kyber crystal?
Exactly. Obi-Wan had in his trunk Anakin's lightsaber, his own lightsaber, and in my books, he also had Qui-Gon's. And he took out the crystal, and Luke was able to see it. He saw this, like, the designs of Obi-Wan's, and so he was able to build one using that design and schematics, and then use the crystal of Qui-Gon's.
Okay, but to my previous point, Qui-Gon also, with a green lightsaber, represented this renegade Jedi who ultimately had good values, but he didn't want to completely conform to either the good or the bad.
It's interesting because with the lore surrounding lightsaber colors and what they represent, and there's been a lot of mixture when it comes to how canon and legends represents that. Canon has now reintroduced the fact that you don't go out and you choose and find a lightsaber, kyber crystal that has a specific color, but you go out and kyber crystals are all clear, and the color just appears depending on who your lightsaber is, and then Sith can bleed them and turn them into red.
The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter.
Yeah, exactly. So it still follows that same sort of line, but initially green was for consular. So this is how the old EU would explain it, and those were more diplomatic Jedi who chose to use the Force over their lightsaber. Whereas there were guardians and defenders who were more of the action-oriented and the generals of Jedi wars, the Obi-Wans, the Anakins, whereas you had others who were more of the, almost like the mentalists of the Jedis, the people who really thought deeply, like the Yodas, who would use greens.
But greens, by that definition, are kind of more of a ceremonial weapon.
Well, no. They would still be used frequently.
Yeah.
But just in terms of that slight division. And then when it comes to lightsaber color, there's so many different like variations on what those are and what they mean. But
yeah,
green is generally not associated with being the middle ground. Purple is associated with being that middle ground in the sense of it's a mixture of blue and red.
Right.
And Mace Windu towing the line of someone who was purely light side, but could tap into his anger and the anger of others the way a dark side user would, but not use the dark side. So that's why he was so rare, because that's a hard line to be on, because most people are going to fall to the dark side if you're on that line.
Now, I want to redact something I said last week about Lando, which is that he really, on paper, just seemed like a straight villain in that 20. He didn't in this. He was very heroic
much
in
a hero in this 20.
It sounds like Han. Let's do it just to save Han.
And even at the very end, dressing up like Han.
I know, that's weird, eh?
Yeah, it's no cape there.
At first I was upset about it, and then I just thought, like, logistically, it makes sense. He's been running around in these other, like, dirty clothes. He's like, there's a fresh change of clothes in Han's drawer. I may as well put on Han's shirt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, like, I found him very serious, and it kind of took another 5% away from how I felt about Donald Glover's performance, which I know I'm the only person in the world who wasn't crazy about.
Yeah, you are.
Donald Glover's performance. I love the guy, but I think he was just hamming it up a bit too much. And I understand he's a younger Lando.
Yeah.
I understand. And less mature, but like this Billy D. Williams is suave AF. And he's also got a deeper voice and like...
Well, that's what I love Billy D. Williams when he told Donald Glover, because Donald Glover like had lunch with him, or like he had to sit down with him. And he's like, I've got all these ideas, like maybe Lando came from this kind of background, like this is the world he grew up on.
And he literally just like let me ramble on for a while. And then I was like, so what do you think? And he, I don't even think he was looking at me when he said it. He was like, I don't know, just be charming.
I know, and like I probably got to lay off a little bit, but I liked Lando a lot in this 20, seeing it isolated from all the other stuff in the movie that he does that's wrong. Just seeing him as a hero in this 20 I watched today was, oh, this is a good guy.
Oh, Lando's great in Return too.
It's interesting also.
Return of the Jedi, he blows up the second Death Star.
He appears to have a bond with Luke very quickly. Like Luke just kind of wakes up from his horrible nap with one hand and fumbles his way to the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and Lando puts a hand on his shoulder. I was like, you've never met?
No, that's true. But I guess Lando's just kind of one of those like warm people that can charm anyone. He's not just going to charm women. He's going to charm literally freaking anyone that will make his life easier.
Totally, and Luke has no reason not to trust Lando.
Yeah.
Even less than Leia, in fact. He just sees Lando as this guy who seriously helped his friends.
Yeah, I mean, really, though, and he just saved his life.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, according to Luke, Lando could be a damn saint.
Yeah. At this point, he's like, you are my friend.
You are the nicest person I've ever met in the galaxy.
Thanks, buddy. Let's go get my other best friend.
Who's also a really nice guy.
Give me your Padawan question.
I will give you my Padawan question. It is... Oh, what is the last word uttered in Empire Strikes Back?
The last word uttered. Okay, there's like quite a John Williams overture towards the end of this, so I feel like there's a little bit of music and some shooting back and forth, like after the last of the dialogue.
Or the last... if you give me the last phrase, I'll also be happy.
The last phrase. Why do I feel like it's C-3PO? I feel like C-3PO always gets the last word.
It isn't.
It's not? Shoot.
In both cases, it's Luke, I think.
Luke. Okay, it comes from Luke. Yeah. So he gets another message from Vader, join me, join me, join me, and Luke just goes, no.
No, so the last phrase in the movie is said by Luke, and it's, may the Force be with you.
Oh, that's good.
And Chewie, Chewie responds,
Oh.
Yeah. But after that, Luke also says, ow. So I would have taken either ow or may the Force be with you.
Ow! I love that it's ow.
Yeah, it's ow when he's getting his new fake hand tested out.
Oh, he just kind of like mutters. Ow.
No, he clearly says ow, because I went back a couple times because I thought it ended on may the Force be with you. And I was like, this is a good question. Mm-hmm. But then I said, it was like, no, he clearly said a word ow.
Man, they pull that mechanical hand together
so fast.
Super fast.
It's insane. And you know what the best part is?
What?
He wears a glove the rest of the damn time.
Yeah,
he
does.
never takes that fucking glove off.
I know. It's perfect flesh.
Well, later on, it's just mechanical again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what's that about?
Why did he rip off the extra flesh? Was it getting in the way?
maybe there's like some I don't know.
He probably got an upgrade and didn't care to get it covered in skin.
You just mean like a computer upgrade? Like he just got the hardware redone?
Yeah, like they realized, oh shit, in order to make improvements on his hand, we need to literally tear off his skin.
If you have artificial flesh covering your robotic hand, you got to take like a supplement on the regular or something to keep that flesh from rotting away. And if he's been living on the island by himself, he doesn't have a GNC where he can go get his supplements. So I have to think that maybe that's just a matter of like, you know what I'm saying though? You know, like he's living pretty bare bones on that island when he has just the raw mechanical hand again. Do you understand what I'm saying?
He's definitely living bare bones on that island.
I said it like an asshole, but I do mean what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I know you're being facetious as well. What's your Padawan question?
Luke loses which hand?
Wow, that is a shockingly difficult question.
That's what I hoped you would say.
I'm really confident I know the answer, but I'm only 50-50.
It's not that confident.
Well, no, I think I know the answer, but it's the one that would be more surprising. Is it the right hand?
He does lose his right hand.
Okay, I was like 90% sure it was his right hand.
I mean, the best way to figure that out is that Luke is, of course, right-handed, and he's holding his lightsaber.
Yes, however, you could also go on the notion of your right hand it's more likely to be his dominant hand, and usually when people lose a limb in movies, it's the one that doesn't matter as much.
It is a bold move to dismember his most important hand.
Yeah, it is. So I was thinking there was a chance, but yeah, right hand.
Well, and for what a great warrior Luke becomes intergalactically, it's good he doesn't have to do that many lightsaber duels. Or does he, between the events of episodes 5 and 6? Are there lots of like canonized stories and legends?
There's not a whole lot of canon between 4 or 5 or 5 and 6.
Really?
There's a little bit. It's mostly done in comics, which is one of the only mediums that I haven't really gotten to yet. I'm sure I'll at some point fire through all the Darth Vader comics, because I know those are the ones that are renowned as the best, and I've read some of those. And they are incredible. But that I don't really know the gaps in that timeline. Luke is... He does more exploration after Return of the Jedi. In this time period, I assume it's more of a training period for him. I don't think he would do a whole lot of dueling. Also, he doesn't have a lightsaber. So the only time he's going to get his lightsaber, although it's been decanonized because it wasn't in the movie, it was a deleted scene, but initially, he built that lightsaber like 10 minutes before he goes into Jabba's palace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He finishes it right outside.
Okay. Well, they have done enough now between episodes 3 and 4, between the TV show Rebels and the 2 movies that we've gotten in the last 2 years. They're great, but let's start exploring some other territory.
Well, we're going to go hardcore into between 6 and 7 now.
Yep.
Because that's where Jon Favreau's show is going to be. That's where the Resistance TV show is going to be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if Rian Johnson's trilogy was in that time period as well.
Right.
With totally new characters, but some way to kind of link it into the events that will happen following. It's the new large chunk of time that is yet to be explored that isn't going prior to the Phantom Menace.
Right,
Which
okay.
is where I think universally everybody wants Benioff and Weiss to end up. Because
The Game of Thrones guys?
Game of Thrones guys, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair to want them to do our Old Republic.
It is. That seems right.
Because that
doesn't
seems
it?
really awesome.
It almost seems like, let's get those guys to do the Old Republic show we
Well,
want to do.
people talk about it like that's what it is already.
But this is how people talk about Star Wars. They talk about stuff like they've already figured it out, and they're always wrong, and then they get pissed.
Yeah, that's generally the way it goes.
Yeah.
Actually, an interesting little point, and I know we're getting off of the 20 a lot. Big
I don't
time,
care.
But on Game of Thrones and Star Wars, Enfys Nest, the character in Solo, is based off of Maisie Williams' character, Arya Stark in
Arya
Game of Thrones.
Stark.
Yeah.
See, I don't even watch Game of Thrones, and I know Arya Stark is amazing.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't watch it either, but I also knew that as well. And so the fact that they were going for that with Enfys Nest, they clearly missed because I hated that character.
exactly what I was gonna say. And like, they can develop her some more. I'm interested.
Oh yeah, I'm interested. It's a
There's
good tease.
definitely a good story to tell there, but her place in Solo did not titillate me at all.
Yeah, I mean, we won't go into spoilers specifically on that,
Right.
But it just didn't fit.
No.
It was a cool character that would have been great to explore with like an arc in Rebels,
Yeah, totally.
and felt like a character that would have been explored in like an arc in Rebels or the Clone Wars.
do you want to do some quotes? I think
Yeah,
all
sure.
the best quotes must have come from Vader in this.
90% of them come from Vader. I loved Lando's though. It's not my fault when he
Yeah.
does the Han line.
It is. Well, I never really noticed that line from Han before this viewing either. Both of them are really desperate. Like when something goes wrong. And in fact, it's the same thing that goes wrong with the Falcon. The hyperdrive isn't working. And they kind of whine.
They told me they fixed it. I trusted them to fix it. It's not my fault.
Because it's just them like deferring blame. It's not me. It wasn't me.
Exactly. Because both of them know that they get blamed for a lot of stuff. And in many cases, rightfully so.
Yep.
I really meant to do right this time. And it's not working out.
It's not my fault.
One of the last things 3PO says in this movie, he's back up with R2-D2, and R2-D2 bleep bloops, and C-3PO goes, I know I've looked better. I thought that was kind of funny. I know I've looked better.
Yeah, that is going. 3PO's got another couple good ones. The City Central Computer told you? R2-D2, you know better than to trust a strange computer.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that's very good too.
And also, R2, come back at once. You haven't finished with me yet. You don't know how to fix the hyperdrive. Chewbacca can do it. I'm standing here in pieces. And you have delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, yeah,
Basically
I know.
just like telling R2 he can't do it. And of course he saves the day.
For a character who's not very well liked, C-3PO has some great lines.
Oh, absolutely. 3PO's like I don't know. He's this through line
Yeah.
that it feels weird. Like, it felt weird not having him in Solo.
Yep. Very first time he's not been in a Star Wars movie. Although Anthony Daniels played as Wookiee.
He played a Wookiee in on Kessel.
Whatever.
Yeah. I think that's just so he could say he's been in them all, which, I mean, let's face it, I would too. If I was
Your
in the street.
destiny lies with me, Skywalker. Obi-Wan knew this to be true. You know, a lot of Vader's dialogue sounds cool because it's coming from Vader. Just on paper, a lot of it's not cooler than the way Anakin Skywalker spoke in the prequels. Like, in a way, the clunky dialogue of Anakin Skywalker it would sound cooler if it came from Vader. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would.
He speaks very stentorian and like with these like weird, these weird phraseologies. Like,
But
what does he say?
that's the thing is, it's intimidating coming from Vader.
Yeah.
It's just so not intimidating coming from Anakin.
No, I
Anakin's it's a whiny kid.
He is.
You could also just say that, like, I don't know, when you look at Kim Jong-un, you just see a giant baby, but he also has, some nukes. So
Yeah, that helps. He can be scary.
that you can make someone who's a wimp in certain situations pretty scary if you
You're right.
give
You're
it
right.
some time.
I wanted to unpack another thing he said to Luke. He says, "Luke, you can destroy the Empire. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny." So he has foreseen this. The Emperor has foreseen this. He has foreseen Luke destroying him.
Yeah.
So this again kind of brings us back to this the rule of two thing with the Sith. So is the Emperor at peace with the fact that Luke and Vader are going to overthrow him?
No, he's specifically trying, and that's the thing that's weird, is because the Emperor is getting Vader to go bring in Luke
So he can kill Vader.
so he can kill Vader.
And Vader knows that.
And Vader knows that, so Vader's going to recruit Luke so they can kill the Emperor together. Luke
Right.
doesn't want to take part in any of it.
Right.
And then, and at the end of Return of the Jedi, the Emperor tells Luke to kill Vader. And very much in the same way of like that do it moment from when Anakin kills Count Dooku, Luke chooses not to.
Why are they trying to seduce Luke with aggression? Like Palpatine, when he got Anakin over to the dark side, he befriended him, and like he really he did it in a more subtly manipulative way. Whereas you'd think Luke would be even easier to manipulate because he has no friends.
Because Vader's not a strategist.
I guess.
Vader's the one. Like if it was the Emperor and he was able to be in to hide himself in this friendly old man position again, he could do it easily with Luke, easier.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have had the same people looking out for him. But because it's Vader going to seduce him, he does it in Vader's way, and it just doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it's just the approach specifically, and that goes down to showing you that it really wasn't Anakin's choice.
The
and
Force
that you had someone from the age of 9 who was just controlling him without him even realizing it.
right from the beginning. You think Palpatine was controlling Anakin right from the Phantom Menace?
Oh, absolutely. We'll be
guess.
watching your career with great interest.
Yeah.
That's him telling you, dude, I am going to be making everything. I will move mountains so that you are the most famous Jedi in the world so that I can have you as my own.
Yeah.
He always wanted Anakin
I guess.
because Anakin was created by him.
Oh.
Well, there's debate whether it was Plagueis or Palpatine who...
What are you talking about? That's a thing?
Yeah, the virgin birth.
I know, but I don't know of any. I don't know of specific Sith lords impregnating Shmi Skywalker.
Well, no, but in terms of creating life, Plagueis was able to create life, and so it was either Plagueis or Palpatine who created Anakin.
Okay, but I need you to be more specific because it's just implied to us in that movie that suddenly Shmi got pregnant.
Yep. It's exactly how it is, just in terms of... So there's a lot of different ways. Some people say that, and I don't think there's an official confirmation on how everything worked, but some people say that in Plagueis' attempts to create life, he failed, and in doing so, created Anakin, someone who could then actually bring a balance to the Force.
Right.
And so then they created...
But wasn't purely evil like he was going for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then therefore they were like, okay, well shit, now we need to make sure he's on our side. Or Plagueis didn't learn it. He was not able to learn how to create life, but Palpatine was, and then created Anakin for himself. And so there's like a few different variations, but pretty much it's guaranteed that one of Palpatine or Plagueis is behind the birth of Anakin.
I think you're dropping a bit of a bomb right now. I think like maybe people know that, but not that many people know that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's because that's the reason why, like, when all the Plagueis information stirred up with Snoke, people really started to dig deep and analyze the impact that character has had so far in the series, and it really made people kind of realize that moment, the very memed moment at the opera house, that's a more pivotal moment than we realize, and that really Palpatine's explaining how he's been manipulating the situation since before Anakin was alive.
Okay.
And then when he was reintroduced to his life at like the age of 9, he was able to control his Jedi growth.
Man, we got to see a young Palpatine movie.
Oh, I think it would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Oh, I think that would be so phenomenal.
It would be like The Godfather, you know, like.
Well, it's really interesting because Plagueis was also such a highly regarded Legends book that they're taking a lot of the stuff from Legends, and I think you could really build a really cool story. And I still think it would have been a very. I don't have anything wrong with Snoke being Plagueis.
You could still work that
I
out.
still think it can work. Now,
even dead,
it can work.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say even killed.
Is it necessary?
Trivially, but like he wasn't killed trivially.
Well, that's the thing is, if you want to make Snoke the big baddie of all 9 movies, you can absolutely do it.
Yeah.
You bring him back in Episode 9, which is very reasonable if he is Plagueis. If he's not, then no.
Right.
No, thank you at all.
Yeah.
But if that's what they want to go for, there is an angle that I think you can still play, and I think that would also pose the opportunity of Snoke could then get the whole other exploration of a movie where it's like Snoke / Plagueis and a young Palpatine. There was a really, I know for a while people wanted James Franco to play a young Palpatine.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, definitely not. But at a time, people thought that could have been kind of cool.
He's also not a very good actor, James Franco. Like, I think he's acted okay a couple of times, but like, I don't think he could do that.
No, I don't think it's the right fit.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know who would be though. So if anyone has an idea on who would be a cool young Palpatine portrayer,
definitely send us a tweet at Recorder66. Who could play a young Palpatine? And give us a broad spectrum of ages, because I guess that's kind of open to interpretation.
I don't know why. I've always I think he's been depicted as having red hair.
Weird.
As like a young. I'm assuming Ian McDermott must have. That's the reason why they've chosen to go that route.
Yo, what about that kid who plays the Joker on Gotham? He's got red hair.
Well, he's
scary.
Fucking incredible actor.
He's a great actor, and he's scary, man.
He is. He's not British, so he'd have to be able to put on a good British accent. Oh, I've got it.
Oh.
Bringing back Rupert Grint.
Do it. That guy is due for a comeback. I like it a lot.
Rupert Grint is Sheev Palpatine.
Yeah.
All right. Any other good quotes? There are a lot of good quotes.
I mean, there's endless good quotes. Of course, the big one.
What's the big one in this one?
You know what? This one is so obvious. I don't even want to name the episode after this.
Well, no, we have to.
Do we?
We have to.
I guess.
We should name. Are we going to name it "No, I Am Your Father" or "I Am Your Father"?
Just call it No. No.
Well, specifically, everybody quotes it as "Luke, I am your father."
That's one of those Mandela effect things.
No, I am your father.
That's even one that, like, I will say.
Yep.
And then, without even missing a beat, correct myself immediately after, just because it's programmed just in all of our heads to say, "Luke, I am your father" first.
Totally. It is no.
It's
I
weird.
am. I am your father. I think Luke's reaction to that is
awful.
Hardcore cringe.
It's not true. That's impossible. Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
It's a major take back.
He looks like he's about to melt. He looks like he's gonna melt, like at the end of Indiana Jones. Like he like does this weird face thing. And I mean, the melodramatic no has been used a number of times in Star Wars, and almost never well.
Nope. My favorite one's easily young Obi-Wan when Qui-Gon dies.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not even close.
That one really hurts
Because it's also acted well, which none of the other ones are.
That makes all the difference.
It
as
really
turns
does.
out. Yeah, it's. I mean, some people have said that it would make more sense for Luke to just not believe Vader. But I don't know if I agree with that. Like, Luke has no reason not to believe Vader. Like, why else would Vader say it?
Yeah, I mean, he knows Vader was the one who killed his father, or that's what he thought. So it's not so out there. And for people who don't know it, actually, this is a cool little tidbit. But only 4 people actually knew this was the real line.
Right.
So Mark Hamill, James Earl Jones, George Lucas, and I guess Lawrence Kasdan or Irvin Kershner.
No, it definitely would have been. Yeah, it must have been those 2 guys. They must have both known.
Well, then it must have been 5. That doesn't make much sense.
Anyway,
yeah.
writer director.
David Prowse didn't even know.
He didn't know. He delivered a different line
He delivered
on set.
the line, "No, Obi-Wan killed your father."
And that was supposed to be like this big twist. Yeah. And in fact,
that's what it was. Mark Hamill didn't know.
Mark Hamill didn't know.
Mark Hamill didn't know because he just reacted the same way as if Obi-Wan killed your father. No, that's impossible.
Yeah, but it is possible because we don't know anything about Ben, and you barely knew Ben.
But he is so obsessed with Ben. He just keeps talking about him constantly.
I know. You know what? Vader is really obsessed with Ben too. That's something I really picked up on in like.
So is Darth Maul. Man, people love, and everyone on Reddit.
Yeah, totally. But like everything Vader says to Luke is, Obi-Wan never told you this. I bet you didn't hear that from Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan.
It really is.
He says it constantly.
Oh my god! Now I'm only gonna think of Vader as being like Hayden Christensen Anakin. No,
but that's good. That's a good connector because
it is.
Hayden Christensen Anakin was obsessed with Obi-Wan in a bitter, negative way towards the end.
Yeah. There's a couple other. Vader has a weird kind of like falling with style moment.
Yeah. Well,
at the start of the fight with Luke, where
it's
he
like
levitates down.
He glides down.
It's very weird. It doesn't fit.
On the other side,
it stood out.
On the other side, Luke pulls off an amazing Force leap.
Yeah, it really is. Like he just shoots out.
He does.
It's impressive, and it shows how much he really learned while on Dagobah.
Yep.
He's also way better with his lightsaber here. There's just some other good lines here. Only your hatred can destroy me.
That was a very packed line, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really. I mean, it's antithetical to the dogma that he's been hearing from Yoda up until now. He's basically saying, don't reject your hate. Hate is exactly what you need, which is a little stupid.
Well, I like what he also says. Obi-Wan has taught you well. You have controlled your fear. Now release your anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like he really, it lets you in a lot about what the dark side is and how, I guess how a Force user would leverage it. And really kind of tap into that potential in the same way that like Anakin did. He just so much hatred that turned him into who he was.
But Luke shouldn't have that much hatred. Like really,
No.
I mean, he would hate Vader for being his father, who he has wanted to admire all his life. Like he
doesn't know that at this point.
I know. Like there's not a whole lot for Luke to be full of hatred over. Although I guess the Empire killed his aunt and uncle. Although if he's really feeling passionately towards that, he's been bottling it up for the entire series so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that is true in the sense that we don't know what really Luke's life has been like for those 17 years and for like, or 19 years or whatever it was.
The other side is
he potentially has had some rough times of like abandonment, and over the last few years he has had no one. He has had no family.
He also
like 2 years.
He also doesn't need to have a lot of background for his hatred. He is a Skywalker, and it's in him to feel blindly hateful.
Yeah, that's true. But then there's also the fact that the only people who he's looked up to in like parental roles were killed under Vader's order or killed by Vader.
Totally.
So it makes sense for him to be pretty mad.
And
also, Han was just captured.
Yeah. Give me your Jedi Knight question.
My Jedi Knight question is, what was the budget for Empire Strikes Back?
Oh, wow. This is fascinating. Okay. So if I take into consideration inflation and $22 million.
Excellent guess.
Really?
Excellent guess.
Cool.
18 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's still amazing. They pulled it off for $18 million.
I know.
It was a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yes, exactly.
The dollar could potentially have gone way further.
$18 million. And what did you say they've spent on Solo?
Over 300 million.
Oh God, that's insane.
There are some reports that say it's almost 500, including the marketing budget.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Which I'm not saying is true, but it is absolutely over 300. and they are not making their money back
Isn't that
anytime
wild?
soon.
Isn't that wild?
They might
It's-
not make their money back, period.
That's amazing.
I know,
It's
crazy.
making like
they'll make it back in
20%.
like DVD sales to like hardcore fans, but that's
Yeah.
it. They'll make almost no profit on this movie if they make any.
Maybe it's a lesson learned. Don't take this lightly, which they knew already, but like now they have evidence not to take it lightly.
Well, I mean, you could say it's the marketing. You could have it as The Last Jedi backlash, the fact that it was too close to The Last Jedi, and that no one actually ever asked for this movie or
right.
needed it.
That's right. I
I think all those things combined to really, and I agree with you. I do think that is the biggest one.
Right.
That people just didn't need to see this movie. And when you have a casual fan of like, oh, I'll absolutely go see the new Star Wars movie. Oh, it's just Han Solo. It's not even Harrison Ford. Nah, I don't need to see that one.
And people having decided that they know better than casting directors that Anthony and Gruber, who has a YouTube channel, should have been the guy to play this movie.
He was auditioned. So he auditioned for the role.
He should have been auditioned.
And he apparently they had really high expectations. That's the way they worded it in terms of like they went into his audition knowing the
He had a
great
leg up.
reputation and leg up that he had.
Well, then that sounds to me like he really botched the audition.
No, that sounds to me like they really wanted Alden. That's the way they tried to word it.
I guess.
He was the first person of everyone
Isn't that crazy?
to audition, which is so weird.
Yeah.
But I guess that means at that point, because they had their favorite already, everyone after him just had to beat him, and Anthony and Gruber didn't beat him.
Right.
So it was basically everyone who would come in.
Yeah.
Was like, is he better? No. Okay. Although I know they did do like several rounds. I think like there were 4 rounds of auditions for the character of Solo. Funny enough, because there were 7 for Lando.
Yeah, wow. Unreal. I actually heard that Donald Glover kind of asked for that role. That like he
He
heard,
did. He asked his agent.
Yeah, he said, "Please give me an audition for that," which is kind of cool because everybody would have wanted that anyway.
Yeah,
it
well,
seems so obvious.
His agent told him, "Do not hold your breath."
Yeah, which is just a good thing to tell anybody who wants to be in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that's true. But let's face it, I think that was definitely the role that once everybody heard, we were like, yes, thank God.
Yeah, it gave people faith. Speaking of the bad attitudes of many Star Wars fans, did you hear about Kelly Marie Tran?
That is so sad.
It is really sad. So she's been getting harassed because her character in The Last Jedi has not been very popular among Star Wars fans, Rose.
Yeah.
And she deleted all her Instagram posts this week because people were just like polluting them with meanness. And she's just like she seems like a nice person.
I've seen her interviewed, and she seems so incredibly sweet.
Yeah.
And do I like Rose? Nope. I don't think she's a good character. I don't think she's necessary. But she's part of the Star Wars family, and you embrace everyone in the Star Wars family. That's how it works.
Well said. And also, why are people so stupid that they keep blaming actors for writing they don't like?
Yeah, exactly. Well, people are stupid, though.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly.
In that
Anyway,
instance.
I hope that she gets redeemed in episode 9. They could do something with her character that makes her really badass, and that'd be cool.
That would be really cool because, and that's the thing. Everybody talked about Darth Jar Jar, like that would have been really cool. And obviously, hindsight's 2020, and it would have been easily the biggest risk ever done with a movie franchise in history.
Totally.
But this is an opportunity where JJ can take the character who is disliked and make them a good character in episode 9.
Yep.
Make their part smaller, but make their part good.
Yeah.
Whereas Jar Jar in like Attack of the Clones, he was equally as annoying. He was just in it way less.
Yeah.
And Rose has the bones to be a good character. Her plot line was just so bad.
It was bad, but she wasn't Jar Jar bad.
No,
for
no, no.
Christ's sake. It wasn't that bad.
She wasn't the problem with
No.
it. She was not good enough to like lift it out, lift how terrible that part of the movie was.
Neither
out,
was
but-
Benicio del Toro, who's pretty good. Have you noticed?
Well, also Finn's a great character.
Yeah.
And that was just a hollow, terrible plot line.
It was.
It wasn't the character's fault.
Let me give you my trivia question.
Oh, your Jedi one?
My Jedi Knight question. What kitchen appliance was clearly used in the mechanical hand?
Fuck. I did not see at all.
Really? It's true. I've known this to be true, and if you see it, you'll go, "Oh, that's exactly what that is." It's on the flap of skin that is kind of open on Luke's hand.
Okay, well, this will make it maybe. Yeah, I'm really not going to have much of a guess on this one.
No. Cheese grater, bro.
Oh, really? I was really wanted to say egg beater, but it just didn't work.
There's a big old cheese grater on the inside of Luke's wrist.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
Oh, you got to see it. It's pretty clearly a cheese grater.
Oh, I'm going to actually look that up because that's really weird.
All right, let's do our master questions because
Sure.
I don't have anything else.
Mine's not good either.
Me neither.
What's yours?
What is the last piece of C-3PO to be reassembled?
Oh, shit.
I win! Trivia day!
Does he put on his head first or last? He puts his head on first. I'm like pretty sure he puts his head on first, but I'm going to go head because I am not going to guess the right one of the other limbs.
No, it was his right leg cut off at the knee.
I never would have guessed that quick enough, so that's fair.
I feel good.
Fair enough. Well, you're going to get fucked on mine. I'm sorry.
I'm sure you did.
What is the last thing we see in Empire Strikes Back in reference to that final shot? So what are Luke, Leia, 3PO, and R2 looking at out the window in the final shot of Empire?
Oh, geez, I don't know. They kind of attach themselves to some kind of rebel fleet, I guess.
Yep.
But I don't know what specifically they're looking at.
Okay. Well, it looks like a galaxy,
Yeah.
which has created a lot of confusion amongst
Yeah.
people. And so
What galaxy would that be? Yeah.
Well, there are two answers. I dug and I could not find either of them confirmed by canon.
Okay.
Or either of them confirmed as being only legends.
Okay.
And not still canon. But it could either be one of two things. The galactic rim of the galaxy that all of everything exists in, and they're so far out of it that they're looking at it, and that's how they hide.
Oh, okay.
And that's the reason is the Empire can't track them out there, so that's where their current rebel base is.
That's fair.
Or it's a protostar, which is a star that has kind of like dust rings around it, and ultimately,
That's less good.
but it's also the more. I don't know. I think that one makes more sense. I don't know what a protostar
But
is, but
storytelling-wise, why does that matter? Why would that matter that they're looking at a protostar?
yeah, but why would they be looking? I think it's a mistake, is what it is.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah,
But,
you're right.
I don't know. You have to be so far out of that galaxy.
You know what's a mistake?
And also think about it. You seriously? There's nowhere in the galaxy to hide? And what about the outer rim of the galaxy? We're always told that that's the part.
I don't know, Ross. They didn't have you with them to come up with all the great ideas.
Hey, I am no Dave Filoni.
Not yet, I guess.
Not a chance.
R2 should probably use that smoke screen thing more often. That thing that he does to get away from the stormtroopers.
R2 has so many tricks up his sleeve, it's
He's
ridiculous.
such a little Inspector Gadget, but he creates this smoke screen. I'm like, you should do that every day. That's such a good trick.
Well, it's probably not always full.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe he has to recharge it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's fair.
I've been meaning to make this as another thing that needs to change. I'm sorry, but I don't get why Leia consistently goes with these really stupid haircuts. Her haircut at the end of Empire is also ridiculous. Those two big weird loop things.
I always kind of liked that haircut.
No, I think it's weird looking.
I always kind of liked it. Although
No.
she's
Should have gone back with like the Hoth haircut.
She has been to the salon in that final shot, eh? Like she got done up for their escape.
They're pampered at Cloud City. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Lando would have sent her to some spa that he has access to.
So she has that hair when they're making their getaway?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's got the hair at the end of the movie.
You've been meaning to... That's really been weighing on you?
Well, just in terms of like, why? Like, why does she always have such weird hair?
Because, I mean, a lot of these female characters in Star Wars always have really weird hair.
One cool thing.
Amidala had crazy hair in Phantom Menace, and Rey has some kind of weird hair, too.
Well, do you know how their braids work?
You mean the 1 bun, 2 bun, 3 bun thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
That is kind of interesting.
Well, it's kind
So-
of interesting, except for that we have no reason to believe that Rey is related to Leia and Padme.
No, but of course that was one thing that people assumed. She's got to be a Skywalker.
She's got 3 buns. She must be a
because she follows the
Skywalker.
trend. So
Yeah.
Padme had 1, Leia 2, and
No, that's just good stylization. Like that's
Yeah.
just good filmmaking. It's got nothing to do with the story.
Star Wars is supposed to parallel like that, and that's
Yes,
the thing.
exactly.
They're not saying that like Lando is also Han's like long lost brother because he also said, "Oh no, it's not fair."
And he wore a vest.
Oh my God, they must be related.
There's only one vest family in this galaxy.
There's definitely a hidden joke in there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So when it comes to, I guess, in the news, there's not a whole lot. There's a couple cool little tidbits though about kind of the behind the scenes on Solo. So initially, when they switched from Paul Bettany for the role of Dryden Voss, they wanted to get someone who would be good looking.
Yep.
So they switched away from kind of like the half lion character because they didn't think like, why would Kira fall in love with the cowardly lion?
Right.
So that didn't work. And so then when they got Paul Bettany, then they realized that he was just too good looking. So they gave him the scars. And so that's where the entire look of the character came from, and that they wanted someone to be good looking, but not too good looking.
I mean, I don't really think Paul Bettany is like too good looking. I think he's kind of like, he's striking, but like he's not like a George Clooney handsome. He's got kind of a funny look about him that makes him very fitted for Star Wars. I think the scars were just a good idea because the character is scary.
Oh, I thought he was a very well designed character.
Totally.
Very cool. He had very broad shoulders, and like it was a cool design of the character. I was glad they went with what they did. Although I'd be cool to see him come like kind of like a Minotaur style character in Star Wars. That'd be kind of cool.
Definitely, and I'd love to see some artwork of what...
Minotaur's a bull, isn't it? I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah, it is.
There's one that's like half lion.
I would love to see some artwork of what the other character was supposed to look like before he was recast. Can we see that anywhere?
I haven't seen anything, but I'm sure it'll come out at some... if there might be a Solo art book.
Or they might recycle that idea for someone else.
Yep, they've definitely done that. I know Lasat, which is a species, one of the main characters in Rebels, Zeb, he's a Lasat. But Lasats were kind of the amphibian equivalent of what Wookiees might have been at one point.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
In the 70s.
Not Gungans.
No.
'Cause that's an amphibian Wookiee.
No. No. Specifically, like much more Wookiee-esque in terms of being a brute.
Okay.
And it's interesting to see how the evolution of like the pointy ears and how they removed those, but then they were able to recycle it and make a totally other species out of their initial drafts of another species.
Right.
There's also, this is a cool one, and it was from Reddit Star Wars Speculation. Woolavan, the poster, they just had a theory that they thought of, and I thought it was one of the best theories that I just haven't heard. But Kira specifically, there is
Snoke.
No.
Kira Snoke.
I will give a spoiler warning on this one, though. So, spoiler alert. Kira, the theory on this is that she's part of Crimson Dawn the entire time. Her wrists are covered with leather straps in the opening sequence.
Okay.
She moves really slow.
She's in Crimson Dawn, like in the getaway scene in the beginning.
That's his theory.
Oh.
And that all she ever tried was to get Han off the planet.
Because she loved him and she wanted to save him.
Yeah, but she was already too deep. She knew she wasn't getting off. And that's the reason why she never made any efforts to leave anyway, because she never wanted to.
But then there's the question of when did she get recruited by Crimson Dawn? Like, how young was she?
I don't know.
That's interesting.
It's a cool kind of theory in the sense that the wrists are covered. Who knows? She's a character that sucks at the moment, but given the right backstory and like more stories with Kira in it, could be a character that could end up being really cool.
I don't really think that the character sucks. I think the character's just not fleshed out enough.
Yep, and that's possible. But at the moment, Solo did not give a good entry point for Kira.
This is so true.
Yeah, and that's true. That's the thing is, I'm also keeping my mind open, as all of you who bashed Rose should. That maybe next movie it'll kind of retcon some stuff. Maybe we'll never see Kira again in anything canon, but I would be very shocked. I'm assuming that they're going to try and fix some of the little errors in some way, shape, or form.
Do you think Emilia Clarke's got another job at Lucasfilm?
No, I don't necessarily think that, but there's always other mediums, whether it's a good book or a compelling TV show. Now with Jon Favreau having that option, that's one where
older Kira.
There's always cool options.
Whoa, 60-year-old Kira would be kind of messed up.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like, because you can make her this really intense character. I would love it if Kira became like the leader of Crimson Dawn, and that was one of the main cartels in the galaxy. That works for me. I do not want this number 2 taking over her boss's job and then still reporting to Darth Maul and us knowing nothing about this. It's so weird. It's Darth Maul being in the criminal underworld works, but it doesn't tie things together nicely. It could be, though.
Okay.
I think Kira could be a really important character. She's just not being done well yet.
All right. Okay, this podcast is going to get you a job at Lucasfilm.
That would be awesome. I will take
happen.
it.
I think that someone is just going to tune in and they're like, we got to sue these guys. Wait a second. I'm going to hire him. Sue the other guy.
That sucks for you, Colin.
Yeah, it does. You're right. Hey, are we about done?
Two small little things.
Okay.
We're getting a Beckett comic book in August.
Oh, fun.
So
That's
that
cool.
can be kind of cool. Really
Yeah.
get to learn more about that character. That's one that there was a couple big flaws for me, but overall, seeing like not the end of their story, Beckett could be a cool character to hear about his past.
Oh,
endeavors.
definitely. Yeah, I loved Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, he was excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And the final little point is there's a new production title for episode 9, Trixie.
Okay.
So I don't really know what that means other than the fact that the IX in the middle are capitalized for 9.
That's fun.
But
That's why it's just
yeah,
a
but
playful thing.
it was before it was called Black Diamond.
Oh.
And they changed that, so potentially there was a script change.
Black Diamond's a cool sounding name, actually.
Well, who knows what it meant, though? There's usually some form of connection.
You know what Solo's fake name was?
Red Cup,
They
wasn't
called
it?
it Red Cup.
Yeah, which is great.
That's so funny.
That is really quite funny.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, listen, we're going to take a week off because we've finished 2 whole movies now.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for sticking with us. Next week, we're going to take off, and then we'll be back with the first 20 minutes of Return of the Jedi. In the meantime, maybe go see Solo again. Come back to us with some new observations. You can tweet us your thoughts on the podcast at Recorder66, or you can email us at Recorder66podcast@gmail.com.
And as Luke said at the end of Empire Strikes Back, ow. May the Force be with you.